Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of the end times. Recently, I made a very interesting discovery, and that is that St. John gives us a very important clue as to the identity of the false prophet. Of course, I realize that most people like to speculate on who the Antichrist will be. But don't forget, the false prophet comes before the Antichrist. In fact, it's the false prophet who causes everyone to take the mark of the beast, not the Antichrist. Now, in these end times, there will be four evil entities: Satan, the false prophet, the Antichrist, and the one world tyranny. In order to discover who the false prophet is, let's take a look at these four evil entities. In Revelation 12, verse number 3, "And there appeared another sign in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 crowns." Now, the great red dragon would be Satan. Now, let's look at the second of these evil entities in chapter 13, verse number 1. "And I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads names of blasphemy." Most Bible scholars agree that this beast from the sea refers to the Antichrist. He is the one Jesus told the Jews that they would accept him. Another will come in his own name, and him you will accept. The 10 horns with crowns on this beast indicate that all the world's political leaders will endorse him. The 7 heads with blasphemous names indicate that all the world's religious leaders will support the Antichrist. And a third evil entity, "And I saw another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spoke as a dragon." Now this beast is the false prophet. "And a fourth evil entity, and he took me away in spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of the names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns." This last scarlet-colored beast is the one-world communist tyranny. As you know by now, 4 is an extremely important end times number in biblical numerology. The book of Revelation is actually organized around the number 4 and not the number 7, as is commonly misunderstood. And St. John very often organizes the number 4 in a 3 plus 1 combination. That gives it a divine authority, because 3 is a number of the Trinity, but also the number 4, because 4 symbolizes the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit equals God. 4 different groupings. So now let's look at how St. John organizes these 4 evil entities of the end times into several different 3 plus 1 combinations. And after we have studied this, I think we will see that he is giving us a clue as to who the false prophet will be. For example, there are 3 beasts and 1 dragon. There are 3 which have 7 heads and 10 horns, and 1, that is the false prophet, who only has 2 horns. There are 3 individuals who go to hell, but there's 1 world nation that, of course, cannot go to hell. There are 3 that exist for 7 years or more, and there is 1 who exists, or I perhaps should say rules, for 42 months, and that would be the Antichrist. So as you can see, there are many 3 plus 1 combinations. But now let's look at the most important one. If we take another look at these 4 evil entities, we will find that 1 is associated with the color red, and that would be the red dragon, or Satan. And there is a scarlet-colored beast, which is also the color of red, and that would be the one-world communist tyranny. But that's interesting that there are only 2 St. John gives with the number red. Doesn't that indicate that there might be a third one with the color red? That would complete our 3 plus 1 combination. Now, it could be the Antichrist, who is the color red, But I doubt it because the Antichrist comes after the false prophet. If I am right about this, St. John is setting this up so we will understand better who the false prophet is. In other words, the beast which comes up out of the earth and has two horns like a lamb and speaks like a dragon is also associated with the color red. Now, I'm going to suggest that he will be a cardinal in the Catholic Church. A cardinal is associated with the color red. That's what the word cardinal means. We have cardiologists, for example, or we do cardiograms. Those had to do with the heart, and cardio means red. Thus we see that St. John sets up quite a few 3+1 permutations and combinations of the four evil end times entities. And I believe one of the reasons he does this is to reveal a hidden permutation and combination. Since two of these entities are already associated with the color red, it's very likely that a third one is also associated with the color red, and that would be the false prophet. And if the false prophet is associated with the color red, might that not indicate that he is a high-ranking cardinal in the hierarchy of the Roman Catholic Church? So now look at some other places in the book of Revelation where I believe St. John describes the false prophet. And let's see if a cardinal could fit that description. For example, in Revelation verse 10, St. John describes Wormwood. Now, I know a lot of people believe Wormwood is an actual asteroid or comet. But remember, the symbolic interpretation in end times Bible prophecy always takes precedence over the literal interpretation. In other words, and the third angel sounded a trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven. I don't believe this is the heaven above us. I believe this refers to a high-ranking church official, burning as it were a torch, and it fell upon the third part of the rivers. Could that indicate the Catholic Church, a third part of the rivers? And on the fountains of waters. The fountains would be the hierarchy of the Catholic Church, the bishops and the archbishops, and so on. And the name of the star, now in this case, star would be a very famous person, just like we have movie stars, is called Wormwood. This is, of course, his symbolic name. And the third part of the waters became Wormwood. In other words, a third part of humanity. And many men died of the waters. Now this would be a symbolic death because they were made bitter. The bitter waters refers to false dogma, which this apostate cardinal will teach. To reinforce this idea that the false prophet will be a high-ranking Catholic who apostatizes, that is, he renounces his Catholic faith, I believe St. John gave us an example in the person of Martin Luther. Now, I have nothing against Lutherans. Please don't call me anti-Lutheran. Personally, I believe many fine Lutherans will be raptured ahead of me, for example. But Martin Luther was one of the worst of the reformers, which is, of course, why he is the most famous in the media. Let's take a look at how St. John describes Martin Luther. And the fifth angel sounded the trumpet. Again, just like Wormwood, an angel sounds a trumpet. And I saw a star, in other words, another famous high-ranking person, fall from heaven, again, spiritual heaven, upon the earth. In other words, Martin Luther renounced his Catholic faith, and in fact, he married a nun. And there was given to him the key of the bottomless pit. St. John says that this particular star which falls from heaven unleashes a plague of locusts which lasts for 5 months. Those 5 months symbolize 5 centuries. Martin Luther posted his famous 95 Theses on Halloween of the year 1517. And when you add 500 years to that, you get what I believe to be the date for Armageddon, and that is Halloween of the year 2017. And so, in conclusion, we see that St. John uses all the important aspects of end times Bible prophecy, and that would be symbolism, numerology, and historical prefigures in order to give us all the clues we need to understand that the false prophet of the end times will be a high-ranking cardinal in the Roman Catholic Church. And as I have pointed out many times, it's extremely important to know who the false prophet will be, because he is the one who will cause everyone on earth to take the mark of the beast, and not the Antichrist. And, as always, if you would like more information, please order my free copy of Revelation Unraveled. You can write to the address you see on your screen or send me a message to my YouTube account.